Hi, my name is Chris, and my YouTube channel is all about fountain pens and fountain pen inks. So this is a departure from my normal videos. What I'm doing today is I'm doing a historical romance reader book tag. Reading is one of my passions, and I am just recently back into reading historical romances, and this tag just sounded like so much fun. It was put out by Jessica at Peace Love Books, and this is not a new tag. It was I think 6 or 7, maybe even longer, months ago, but it just looked like a lot of fun. So here goes. She's got 13 questions, and the first one is, what was the first historical romance you ever read? Okay, so I was an avid reader even as a kid. It was all about Nancy Drew and Trixie Belden when I was young. I'm just about to turn 58 now. But my first historical romance was Shanna by Kathleen Woodiwiss. This is not the best copy of it that I've ever owned, but they tend to get worn out or they disappear and never return. So this is... it's okay, I guess, now that I don't have the beautiful cover. I'll find one eventually because I know the story so well. I reread it at least once a year, it seems like. Not every year, but pretty near every year. So with this book, what happened was it wasn't too long after I moved to Derby Line, Vermont, and I met my friend Cheryl, and she just kept harping on me about reading this book and reading the other books by Kathleen Woodiwiss. Well, I wasn't yet into anything other than mysteries and, you know, detective stuff. That's all I was into. And in fact, I think our neighbor across the street was some kind of a crime scene person, and I just was really intrigued by all of that. Sometimes we even saw the van parked there. But anyway, she made me go with her to the library. Of course, we were doing all kinds of stuff together, and we went to the Haskell Free Library that is both in Canada and the United States. And it was hard to get these books. I think they were hardbacks. I'm sure they were. And people were checking them out like crazy because it really wasn't all that long after she'd written them, and not too many years. So later on, I was catching them as they were coming out. So anyway, I finally did it because she wasn't going to let up. She was not going to stop until I read this book. And this book was just so good, like nothing else I'd ever read. And it just grabbed me from the very beginning. The whole thing is that this girl has to get married. She has to make a choice, or her dad's going to take away her choice, and he's just going to have to marry whoever he decides. So she cooks up a scheme to get out of it. You know, to actually, I don't know how much they give away on the cover. I hate to do giveaways, but yeah, I don't think they give a whole lot away. So I really don't want to do any spoilers because you will just really love this book. It's got a real tropical vibe. It's a real summer read to me because most of it takes place on the island where she grew up, and luckily her scheme fails. And anyway, it's just an amazing book. And of all books to start with, that sets the bar pretty high, I have to tell you, because over the years, you know, later as I was growing up, because I have to guess, I have to say I was probably 15 when I read this. And I still remember my mom kind of examining what I would bring home and asking me, is this appropriate for you? Well, Cheryl's reading it, I'd say, so it should be okay. Okay, I know I'm going to have to move along or I won't make it through the 13 questions. Okay, and then the question 2. But anyway, I highly recommend this book. It's one of my favorites by Kathleen Woodiwiss, and I have 9 of hers that I really like. Her most recent ones, her latest ones, I didn't like. But okay, number 2, what was the last historical romance you read? Okay, the last one I finished was actually new to me author Lisa Kleypas, Chasing Cassandra. So I finished this whole series. I think there may be one more related book. This is the Ravenel series. This is a beautiful copy of it, actually. And I really enjoyed this. It's not it's not the same as reading a Woodiwiss, but it's really neat for me to be expanding my my authors. It's actually like there's no other choice at this point, because it was time to find some more authors, and I really like her style. This is all new to me, so I haven't formed, fully formed opinion yet, I think. Okay. But that's like another question. So, number 3, who is an underrated historical romance author that you wish more people could or would read? Okay, that's easy for me, because that would be Penelope Williamson. I think her my very favorite of hers is, oh my goodness, I got a lot of glare. A Wild Yearning. This is just a wonderful story. This is you could almost call it a mail order bride. The girl responds to an ad from a man who is widowed, and he needs a wife to help, to be his partner and to help raise his child. So it's just a real wild adventure that she has with the doctor who takes her back to marry this man. And it's a story. When I found Penelope Williamson, she was the next author that I found after Woodiwiss. I actually, for a long time, didn't think I would find anybody else that I could stand to read, because nothing kind of intrigued me the way the Woodiwiss books did. But definitely hers did. And I've got 3 of hers, but there are 3 more that I've read. And then this one is The Passions of Emma. I bought this when it was it came out in hardcover. I don't save hardcovers, though. I always just save paperbacks. So I waited and then purchased it again. And this one is a very emotionally, all of Penelope Williamson's books are what I'd call heavy, but they're good. They're deep, long-lasting. The stories will really stay with you. And then the third one that I still own is The Outsider. And The Outsider has been made into a major movie, a Western, by the same name, The Outsider. And it's, it's Tim Daly and Naomi Watts. Very, very good. This one is about a woman raised in the faith, the plain people. Anyway, it's very, very... It's interesting, it's serious, and yet it's, I don't know. I love this story, and I love the movie equally well. So if you just want to watch the movie. Okay, I know I got to move on. Number 4, who is a historical romance author you haven't read yet but need to? Okay, there are many on my list, because for so long I was so picky, and and I don't say that like it just was maybe out of my budget to go looking around and purchasing a bunch of books, or probably I was also very busy. Anyway, I've got a whole bunch of authors that I've been trying to build up a smorgasbord for myself. So Tessa Dare is one of them, and I got the 3 now, Girl Meets Duke series. I'm really looking forward to that. And I've got a couple of Kerrigan Byrne, so I want to try hers. And then I've got some older ones too. I've got a couple of Julie Garwood, The Secret and The Bride, and I think I have another one on order. Yeah. As soon as I discovered thrift books, watch out. Okay. And then, let's see, Joanna Lindsay. When I was in Oklahoma and I was still on active duty in the Air Force, I read quite a few of hers, but I don't really remember which ones, and she has so many. But I did get interested in this one, The Air, and I've got a couple others too. So it's really easy for me at this point, because there's so many I haven't read, and I'm so much more willing now with more time on my hands and being older to just try different authors and see what comes of it and everything like that. So, okay. Question number 5, what historical romance would you recommend to people who are new to the genre? I don't know. I really can't answer that question, because I don't know. It depends on you. And I was looking these books over, and I'm realizing that like Kathleen Woodowiss's books, they were longer. They were quite a bit longer. Like they tend to be 500 pages approximately. And so the story will keep you longer. And yes, there are some changes in the acceptable content and so forth, but I don't let that bother me. I understand that everything is changing and many things are changing for the better. That doesn't cancel the books in my mind, but so I really just don't know how to answer that question, because I kept myself so confined to only a few authors for so long. I could kick myself now, but hopefully there's still time for reading. So, okay, number 6. I love this question. What is your favorite historical romance of all time? Okay, that's easy, like easy for me. It's definitely A Rose in Winter by Kathleen Woodiwiss. It's just my very, very favorite. This is quite a book too, in terms of like her father sells her basically. I mean, he's not a good person, but anyway, and I don't want to give any spoilers for this book. You want to read this with a fresh perspective. They made, well, okay, I can read what's on the back of it because I just don't want to go further than that. You'll get that in any kind of blurb. And I grew up reading this as Irene almost, but I don't think that's how it's pronounced. Her name is spelled Irene. Irene. Anyway, in my mind, it'll always be Irene, I guess. Irene's father had given her hand to the richest suitor. She was now Lady Saxton, mistress of the great manor, all but ruined by fire, wife to a man whose mysteriously shrouded form aroused fear and pity. Yet even as she fell in love with her adoring husband, Irene despaired of freeing her heart from the dashingly handsome Yankee who couldn't forget her. The beautiful Irene, once filled with young dreams of romance, was now a wife and woman torn between two men she loved. Well, this is just a beautiful story, and I have read it so many times and have had so many copies. I've been married to my husband for 35 years, but one day, way back when we hadn't been married about 2 years, I think, he had gotten rid of all my books. He had taken them and donated them on base to the family something or other center, and I made him go back and get them. It was almost a divorce because I was like, are you kidding me? And he said, as long as I've known you, you haven't read them. And I don't know, let's see what year this was. I don't know if this was one of them. It must have been. Yeah, this was definitely one of them, because we were married in 1985. This is a 1982, and by 1982, I was catching them as she was writing them and getting them, and oh my gosh, I mean, it's a wonder we made it so far. Okay, so that's my favorite. Not even, I mean, like, close second? Oh, there's nothing really that's a close second. I love Shanna, and sorry I have such a plain copy of that one, but... But there's just nothing that's really close to that book for me. Okay, so number 7, do you prefer new or old school historical romance? I'm kind of like not able to really answer that, I guess, at this point, because I stuck to the old school for so long, or at least I guess, well, definitely Kathleen Woodiwiss is old school. But I really always felt like most of her books were... responsibly written. Even when something awful happened, as it evolved and the story went on, you didn't just feel like, oh, that was awful. No. So that's a hard one for me to answer. I'll be able to answer that better after I devour all these books I've been getting on Thrift Books, after hearing all the recommendations from Jessica and from other people. Okay, number 8, what are your favorite historical romance tropes? Okay, this is something I hadn't really thought about that much. Torn between two. That's one. Is that one? I don't know. I really don't know. I had to go look up that word after watching one of Jessica's videos. Oh my gosh, I'm dating myself and everything else. Just so new to BookTube. I can't really say pirate romance, although there was a little bit of that. Yeah, there's a little bit of that in Shanna, and I don't know. I would definitely say not hate to love, but things not going so well, in the beginning and then working out. So I guess we'll just leave it at that until I try out more of these different stories. Okay, let's see. What are your favorite historical romance settings? Okay, I love the England and Scotland and the United States in the West. Back in time. I love those. Number 10, what is the oldest historical romance you own? Okay, this may not be the oldest book, but as far as copyright, it would have to be The Flame and the Flower by Kathleen Woodiwiss. But my old red copy that was like The Wolf and the Dove that I do have, my old original, to me, Flame and the Flower was broken beyond repair. The spine came apart. Back then, I didn't know how to repair books. Now I probably could fix it. But this is a 25th anniversary edition, but I'm just really basing this on copyright. So it's 1972, so that wins as far as being the oldest one. Okay, next up. What is your favorite step back that you own? Okay, I had no idea what a step back was till recently, but now I've got a little collection, a to-be-read pile, and I actually found a couple of really pretty ones and knew enough to actually look for that kind of thing in the thrift store even, and I've got a couple really pretty ones. This is a Catherine Coulter, The Duke, and it's got just beautiful artwork. I love this. I love that kind of a step back. And that's, for anybody that doesn't know what one is, it's where you got a fairly plain or nondescript cover, and then you got the beautiful inside part. Yeah, really, really pretty. And this is another one. I just love that. It's got the girl and the horse up here. I love horses. Shanna was full of horses. I just love the horses in the story. So, okay, and then this is a more modern one that I bought for the cover, which is like something I never do. That's my husband, not me. This Sarah McLean, No Good Duke Goes Unpunished. I just love the green. And that kind of ties into fountain pens because I love green fountain pen ink. And when I saw this cover, I was like, oh, that is like one of my most favorite shades of green, the bright. So anyway, I guess that's 3. Oh dear, I went off the rails there. Okay, what historical romance releases are you excited for? Okay, I really don't, there aren't any that I'm like, waiting on the edge of my seat anymore because Kathleen Woodiwiss has passed away. I don't believe Penelope Williamson is writing anymore. I'm not sure if she's still on the planet or not. So all of my old favorites, Joanna Lindsay, they've passed or are no longer writing. So, and I'm so new into these other ones that I just am not there yet. And that's a good position kind of to be in because that means I can find the books used. I can get, I can go, like my thrift store here, they're selling the used books for 89 cents. So if I just get really lucky and there's some on my list and they have them, that's great. And then we have Half Price Bookstore, and we have Books Inc., an independent used bookstore in Portland, Texas, which is just wonderful. Okay, I think there's just one more question. What creators do you follow for historical romance recommendations? Well, okay, here's where I started. I started with a smaller channel, Mary Read Another Book, and I love her channel. She has really good recommendations, and it's not too overwhelming for me. Sometimes she'll mention more than one book, but often she'll just review one book, which is really fun. And then I found Jessica at Peace Love Booksxo, and I love her. She's got that wonderful energy, and she's a teacher, and I'm just really love her channel. And then from her, I found Lisa from Remarkably Lisa. And then 2 more small channels that I follow currently. Read Over Heels with Ellie. I'm not sure I forget how she pronounces her name. And then the other one is a woman from New Zealand, and her channel name is Book Piles. So there we have it, 20 minutes. Oh my gosh. Okay. But my all-time favorite, A Rose in Winter, and of course, Shanna has a really, really special place in my heart. That was my first historical romance. So anyway, I really had fun preparing for this and making the video. I wish I could have done it in front of my bookshelves, but they're just not quite ready yet. We've just recently moved rooms and everything. So I will link some stuff down below just in case you're interested in that tag and the other folks who've done the video. I've only watched 2 of them. I thought I better go ahead and make my video so I didn't get too swayed by what other people said. I've only watched the one from Book Piles and Jessica's original video. So thank you for watching. And for my fountain pen and ink people, we'll be back to normal programming immediately. But you know me with books. This is just one of the genres that I like to read, and had sort of been on hold with this type of reading for a while. But it's kind of good to change gears and not stay stuck in any one mode too long. So I'll see you guys later, and thank you very much, anyone who's watched. Bye for now.